This is an uncensored podcast about sex and sexual topics. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the person or persons sharing them. Some names have been changed to preserve the anonymity of its participants.
Hello, friends. I'm going to call you friends from now on, which is something that me and Priscilla always say to each other, and Lexi. I miss Priscilla, so I'm going to call her. I'm going to start calling everyone my friends instead of my lovers. But you know I do love you guys, and maybe we could be friends with benefits. Friends with benefits. Welcome back, of course, to Make Sex With Me. I am your host, Drew Michael. And just a reminder before we get started, if you haven't yet, please go ahead and rate, review, and or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on. We really need your support, and obviously that is how we can receive it. I'm here today with one of our special new friends. Hi, Chi-Chi. Should I call you Chi-Chi?
Yeah, you can call me Chi-Chi.
Oh my god, Chi-Chi. And you're friends with Priscilla.
Yes.
I was supposed to tell you that Priscilla is like having so much fun with your sister right now.
Oh my god. I love that. Oh yeah. Well, I don't think my sister's there. I know she's at her house in Montana. Right. I don't think my sister's there. Or maybe she is.
She left on Tuesday, I think.
Oh, okay. So she was there for a moment. Oh, okay, cool.
She was there for like a cute moment. And Priscilla said that she's learning how to cut wood, and like one of the neighbors was like, "You want to like tend to my bees with me?" Ooh. And she was like, "Yes." But
that's awesome.
I don't know if I would have said yes. I feel like I want to say yes, but I probably wouldn't.
But then you get free honey.
Yeah, I want to reach into a beehive and just take a bite out of some honeycomb, like just with it, like little bees still clinging to it. Like, but I probably wouldn't.
You can make like an ASMR video. You know, those,
like me, yeah, but me being stung repeatedly while trying to eat honey. That would be great.
Yes. Yeah, that could be a whole new genre.
I love ASMR videos. And I thought that I would be more into them. There was these ones where like, and they still have them obviously, where like it's like boyfriend ASMR. Like you're like falling asleep with some guy, like just talking to you while you're falling asleep.
I would be like, shut the fuck up, I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah, but it's like... It's really cheesy. Like, I thought, like, this might be kind of hot. It's either cheesy or it's, like, actually kind of sexy. And when I get turned on, I don't, like, want to sleep. I'm like...
Yeah.
You know, now I have to watch porn.
Right. It's like, how can I sleep with you whispering dirty things in my ear? I can't.
Yeah, it's really dumb. But anyway, so... Do you get into ASMR at all?
Sometimes, yes. I like the tapping on objects, and I also really like the personal attention ones. You know, like where they're like pretending to do your makeup or like do your hair. Like I actually really like that because like I realized like the first time I've like felt that like ASMR, which is like what is it like? I forget what it stands for. But it's like
I don't know.
When I was a kid and people would like play with my hair, I would get like the tingles because it's like. I don't know what it is. Something about just like someone like touching my hair that just like is very like satisfying, but in a non-sexual way because ASMR is very non-sexual. But like, yeah. And then like that's probably why I really like these like personal attention ASMR videos and tapping, but only tapping on like certain objects. Yeah.
I like the sound of acrylic nails like on each other.
Is that why you have acrylic nails? Is that you can like
only reason?
ASMR
Well,
for yourself?
I got these acrylic nails for my comedy show. It was like 2 days before Halloween, so it kind of just went with the costume. Are you like an avid Burning Manor? Burning Busher?
Burner. I guess like I've gone like 4 times, so like sure, but I'm also like I'm not the kind of person who like always talks about it because there's like certain people who are just like that's like their personality and it's not my personality. But
I see people go to Burning Man and have like the best time of their life. I feel like I used to be the person who was like, I'll do anything once, and I feel like I'm not that person anymore. I also feel like I haven't been outside in like 3 years, so I probably like, I don't know if I would do good in the middle of the desert. Like,
oh my God, that shit's rough. It was so fucking rough. Like I'm like scared to go back next year because it was so rough. I'm like, I want to go, but I also don't because it was a struggle. It was so hot. It was so hot.
Yeah.
There's no AC.
And it's like direct sun. You're just like, hey, it's the salt. Is it like salt flats? Is it like desert?
It's like alkaline dust. So it like, it's not great. Like it's like it gets on your skin and like stays on your skin and you just like, it dries you out. And like and yeah, of course there's no shade. You bring your own shade. And yeah, it was hot as fuck.
Wow.
But it was fun, and I also decided to go kind of like on a whim, which which was, that was a task. So
yeah, I'm waiting for like I always joke about this. Like I'm waiting for like a terminal diagnosis or something, and then I'll do shit like go to Burning Man and like try LSD and like all of that.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like that movie. Have you ever seen that movie where Queen Latifah like gets a death sentence? Like she's like told she has got a brain tumor and then she takes her life savings and she goes to like a fake European town and like lives it up for like a weekend.
What? I don't think I've seen that.
It's so good.
Did it go like straight to DVD?
Yeah, probably. It was like made for home video. No, but then she finds out that like she's not. It was like the machine was wrong and she doesn't have a tumor. But she marries LL Cool J and then they have like a Louisiana style restaurant. It's like really great ending.
Nice.
I know. So
I love that.
Anyone knows the name of that movie, let us know.
I mean, YOLO. I feel like we need to YOLO it a little more.
We do. I'm waiting just to like, so I know a lot of people who are in the same boat as me, like financially, which is like kind of living paycheck to paycheck. And they always seem to like take risks and like get good airplane tickets. And like, they just are like, I'm going to go on this trip. Like, well, I'm not going to want to do this when I'm like 70. So I'm going to do it now. And so I think I need to be more like that. Just like, let's get an airplane ticket and then figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
I feel like I should have said that when I was like 28, but...
It's never too late. It's never too late.
Yes. Never too late. I was also going to go to see Priscilla at your sister's house in Montana. And then I was like, how far is the airport from the house? And I was like, oh...
Like, I've actually never been, so I have no idea. And I'm sure Priscilla would be happy to pick you up.
She would. And I was like, how many bears live in the state of Montana? Like, not gay bears, but like actual, like the Revenant. I'm terrified of being mauled by a grizzly bear.
You'll be fine. You'll have like the dogs. Like the dogs will protect you. Like you're gonna be okay.
Dogs against bear. But you're right. I saw pictures of her dogs. They're so cute. I want to just like dogpile with them.
Yeah. And then I think Priscilla's dog is there too. So you have 3 dogs. 3 dogs against a bear.
And I haven't seen.
The bear does not stand a chance.
Sounds like we're talking about San Francisco. I am so jealous you live in San Francisco. Is it just like every day is fun, or is it just like, ugh, sometimes?
Well, it depends, like what you choose to do every day. Most days I stay home because, like,
Yeah.
there's always stuff to do. But I'm kind of lately I've been such a hermit. Like I'm very much like, all right, I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna save some money. I'm gonna focus on my work. I'm just very kind of like one track mind right now. So I'm not really like, when I was younger, I'd be like, oh yeah, like I'm doing all the things, like going out, going to shows all the time. That stuff's always happening. However, I choose to be like, I'm going to stay home and just like play with my instruments and like, be by myself. I'm very hermit mode right now, but there's
Yeah.
always something happening.
That's so funny because I recently was just so busy and all the things I was engaged with were like things where I was like with a million people all the time. And I forget that like being alone is so important. Like, cause I get recharged from being with people, but like, that's like not always true. Like sometimes people take from me and I'm just like letting them take and I'm like, ugh, I feel so empty now.
Yeah. And it's not just about like being alone. It's also just being in solitude. Solitude is just like where you're like with yourself. And it's not like, I'm alone. Nobody wants me. It's like, I'm with myself right now. And, I'm taking care of me and like, tending to my needs. And like, I love doing that.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite like self-care things? Like you mentioned like having instruments that you like to play music with.
Yeah, like playing music. I like to I listen to like podcasts.
Of course.
Like when I'm chilling. Yeah, I listen to podcasts. I love I haven't been taking naps as much lately, but like napping is great. Sleeping is great. Like it's just basic stuff, nothing like too over the top, but like I really don't watch like that much TV or anything. There's like only certain shows or whatever that I get like super into. But yeah, just like spending time with myself, playing Sudoku, doing work.
Yeah.
I know I sound boring. Oh my God. Wow.
But you work from home, right? Like most of the time?
I do. Yeah, I work from home, so it's like, and I work for myself, so it's like I don't really have coworkers. I have like an assistant who works with me, but like it's mostly just me, so I'm by myself a lot, and I like text friends and stuff, but it's mostly just chilling with me, and I'm glad to.
Let's take a commercial break and then we'll come back.
Hello, my friends. It is I, Drew Michael, and I am here to tell you. Well, I don't know. Did you guys know that I love podcasting? It's literally my favorite thing in the entire world, and I use something called Anchor. Have you heard of Anchor by Spotify? Listen, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your own phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Just download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And listen, podcasting is great. It's literally what I want to do with the rest of my life. If you just like to talk and hear yourself talk and, not force other people to hear you talk, but like give other people the opportunity to listen if they so choose, well, then there you go. You don't need friends. You just need to get a podcast. You don't need therapy. You just need a podcast. Or maybe you need all of those things. But you definitely should get a podcast because it's amazing. Okay, guys. Bye.
So, you have a podcast.
I do. I do.
And it's like really, really good.
Oh, thanks.
I've listened to it.
It's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you've listened to it. Yeah, I started it earlier this year. It's called the Sistriarchy Sessions. And it's like a women's empowerment podcast. And we talk about like self-love, social issues, spiritual growth, and personal development. And right now I only have one season. And I do like kind of like some solo episodes, and I do interviews as well. And yeah, it's on hiatus right now, and I'm like really excited to bring it back. It just, it takes a lot of time. So I'm kind of like, I'll probably bring it back, like start recording in December, like in a month from now. So I really enjoy doing it because I really like just kind of like having a platform to like talk and like say whatever the fuck I want, and and share with people. Like that's another thing is like I really want to like share and like uplift other voices as well. Like it's not just about me talking. Like I could do that, but I also want to like learn from other people and like share what they know with others. So it's super fun. Yeah.
And your podcast is, like you said, it's sistriarchy.
Yes.
It's a little bit spiritual. It's definitely about like the female experience or the experience of people who consider themselves to be female or mostly female, right? Mm-hmm. Is it sexy too sometimes?
It's like, it's not. Well, there was an episode where I interviewed a woman about like self-pleasure. So yeah, it's a little bit sexy, I don't talk about my personal sex life because, I don't think anyone really needs to know about that. I mean, like I could, but that's what this podcast is for.
That's what I'm doing over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's funny because my podcast started out as like an excuse to talk about sex because I moved to the South and I was like, oh my God, there's no one talking about sex around here. And then it quickly became just like an everything kind of podcast. I mean, like sometimes I have to say, oh shit, let's say something sexy right now because we've been talking about politics for the last 20 minutes. I was reading out of a book that you wrote part of. When was this book released?
September, like end of September.
Okay, so like really recently.
Very recent.
And it's a collection of bold stories by brave women, it says. And I really enjoyed the chapter you wrote about your experience with HSV1, which I did not know was the name for herpes.
Yes.
Is there an HSV2?
There is. So there's two types of HSV/herpes strains. HSV1 is kind of mostly known as like cold sores, like oral herpes, like which 60% of the population has. And it can, spread to the genitals as well. And then HSV2 is most commonly genital herpes. And I think those are the two differences. And I love that we're just jumping right into this part. So,
I didn't plan on that, but then I just
no, it's all
like,
good.
Herpes.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that a lot of people don't know about herpes, and that's why there's so much stigma around it, is because there's just no information. Well, there's information, but just people don't know about it. There's no education about it, and that's why there's like it's always kind of like. It's not always the butt of the joke, but it is like, it is used as the punchline a lot in a lot of comedy. Be like, oh God, like herpes. It's like, but like most people have it and they just don't know it.
Yeah. I've heard that before. I heard that on like, have you ever seen that show Adam Ruins Everything?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
It's pretty good, but he had an episode where he mentions that and I was like, of course, like, mind blown. But what's so funny is like I have some people I know who were working in like the health department in like whatever city, and they had a long career there, and they aren't even like fully aware that that's the case. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I've heard from several like reputable sources that like herpes is incredibly common, and it's not curable, right? But like it's not that bad in most cases.
It's like it's very treatable and manageable. Like me personally, I've only had like my one outbreak, which was the first one, and since then haven't had any. And like I've also had, you know, partners like who I've been like, yo, this is what's going on, just FYI, and they're fine with it, and like that nothing's ever happened. Like I've, you know, normally I will have protected sex, but I've also had unprotected sex, and that was, you know, they knew full well like what was going on, so like, and I've never had any issues with it. But you know, that's me personally, that's my personal story. Like I can't speak for everyone, but like knowing that like it's not like you're just like constantly have these like blisters on your crotch, like it doesn't look like that. And because it's like that, like a lot of people don't really know that they have it, because like it can lie dormant in the body for many, many years before you have your first outbreak. So I really don't know when I first got it. It's really unclear because like, you know, in my book, I talk about like, you know, I went home with this guy and then like, you know, a few weeks later I had these bumps, but I can't really trace it back to like who it could have been, because like I was also sleeping with a bunch of other people, but I was using condoms at the time. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, how is that even possible? So it's like, did I have it before, or is it from like oral sex, or like, you know, whatever, like who knows? Because you can get it like you can get it if someone like has a cold sore on their mouth and they like give you perform oral sex on you, you can get herpes that way, and people don't know that. So
And that's like
yeah.
oral sex is so often like what people say, like, oh, this is safe, like,
Right,
you know, we don't have to do the other stuff, we can just do some of this and, you know,
right,
everyone will be good.
like you can still, I have a friend who had chlamydia up the throat twice, so like
I just talked about that in my last episode. I have had gonorrhea in my throat once.
oh
Also, I don't know if this is true, but we had a friend when I was living in Seattle who allegedly had strep vagina.
ow, that sounds so painful.
Yeah. And we were like, Monica, like, what are we gonna do about this? Like, maybe we should make like a granola, like oatmeal based like cream or pack for like your vagina or something to make it better. I don't know why we said oatmeal, but maybe
Maybe because like
soothing.
oatmeal is soothing for the skin. Yeah, I don't really. Well, that sucks. I hope
I
she got better.
know. I mean, honestly, they're viruses, and of
Yeah.
course they could get into other orifices. Like, I'm sure you could get
Yeah.
like chlamydia in your ear. Well, I don't know about
Yeah.
your ear.
Well, like
Maybe.
anywhere there's like a mucousy membrane, like your eye, your mouth, your genitals, like anywhere there's a mucousy membrane, like
Yeah.
you can get viruses. And like, and another thing is that like that's the thing with like STIs, they're just so common. And like if you're a sexually active person who's consenting to sex, like you are probably going to get an STI at some point in your life
Yeah.
if you're having sex.
I'm
You
I'm
know?
absolutely I there's no way I don't have like herpes or I mean I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. Or also what's that other one that everyone's getting?
HPV.
Yeah. That
I
one.
had that at one point. Yeah, I had HPV. And like I got like back in like, you know, I don't know how long ago it was, like before I went to college, I got like the Gardasil, which is like the HPV vaccine.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it protects against like a certain number of HPV strains, but there's also like thousands of HPV strains. So like, you know, at one point in my life, I had HPV and it went away. Like it goes away. Like it's self-treating. It's such an odd, like, I don't really understand that virus. It goes away on its own. But it's also like, you know, if you have, that's why it's, ladies, if you have a uterus, it's very important to get pap smears because, you know, HPV can cause cervical cancer. So like I had to go in and get like, it's called a colposcopy, where they like snip a piece of your cervix to like make sure that it's like everything's fine. And if you have like HPV, yeah. And like HPV is so common. And like that's the thing is like there's also like when you go in to go get an STD test, like if you get like a standard panel, they'll test for like chlamydia, gonorrhea, and like maybe syphilis. I don't even know. I don't even think they test for syphilis, which is probably why it's like spreading so much these days. They test for gonorrhea, gonorrhea, chlamydia, and like, you know, HIV. I think those are like the standard. And you have to ask to like test for other STIs and like, that I think that's why there's like so many that are spreading, because it's like that's why a lot of people don't know they have HSV because they don't test for it. And even if they like tested your blood for it, like you know, they don't know what kind you have. So you might test positive for HSV1, but it could be just like oral HSV1, or you know, it could be the genitals. So it's not clear unless you have like an outbreak or a cold sore, like where the HSV is. So, you know,
and there's
moral of the story, everyone has it.
Right, exactly. And there's other also viruses that you can get sexually that aren't technically sexually transmitted illnesses. Like the monkeypox virus is one that just came up. And I was just thinking as you were talking that I haven't said the words monkeypox in like maybe 3 months. But before that I was saying it like daily, all day long, like, oh my God, monkeypox. Although it's not that big of a deal because it's not like apparently spreading like other things, but if you get it, apparently it can be a really big deal. Like,
oh yeah, it's gnarly. It's gnarly. I think we freaked out about monkeypox because like we're still kind of dealing from COVID, you know. So we're just like, oh fuck, not another one, and like it doesn't sound fun. Like actually, I know like a friend of mine, he knew 10 people who had monkeypox. And I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of people, like to know personally that has it.
Were all those 10 people linked to each other? Like, did they...
I'm not really sure if they're linked to each other. Probably. I mean, like they were all his friends. So like they're linked in that way. So like, I'm not saying it's from that person, but like he knew 10 people who had it. And because that was around the time, like, I think it was like July or June, July, whenever. Yeah. June, July. That's kind of like when it was like popping up. But I think like, you know, once people like knew about it and like, you know, people could take like preventative measures, you know, we were able to like respond in a quick way to like prevent the spread.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of jumping into all of this like ass backwards, like I always do.
That's fine.
But I mean, you don't just talk about HSV1 in your book. You talk about all of the things in your life that kind of led up to what you called, well, a series of slutty phases, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's like rewind, you know.
When were you born?
When I was born in 1988. January 22nd. So yeah, like, you know, I talk about how I like struggled with my body image, like growing up. You know, ever since I was a little girl, I kind of like, I knew I was a fat kid, you know, that was just like really obvious, especially because like people would point it out to me. And, you know, so I like dealt with like body image issues a lot of my life. So I had a lot of like self-loathing in that way. And then, you know, I also just really like, you know, when you get to that like age where like people start dating and whatever, it's like, you know, I really wanted to like be loved by somebody. And, you know, I just like really wanted like a guy to love me and like to pick me. And I was never like chosen in high school and like middle school, high school. I was like, you know, never asked out to any proms or whatever. I didn't have a boyfriend until I like graduated high school and I like met this guy and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love finally. And I was like so happy. I was like, oh my God, this is the best. And then like we broke up. It was like really toxic, of course. And you know, and then like, you know, I wasn't a virgin when we met, but like afterwards, you know, I was in college. I was like, you know, after you break up with someone, like what do people usually do after you break up? You're kind of like, I'm going to go fuck everyone, you know, just to prove something to myself. And you think that's going to like make you feel better about the heartbreak, but like really it doesn't. You're just like looking to fill the void and like, you know, you're proving that you're still desirable to other people. So you're like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna go fuck a bunch of people. So like I did that. Um, and I did that in college, and like, you know, it was fun at the time, but I also like got myself into like really shitty situations. And yeah, and but yeah, so like that continued kind of like the whole cycle of like getting in a relationship and then like breaking up and then just being a slut. And like I'm not slut shaming at all. Like I have zero regrets from my slut phase. Like I had a lot of fun. However, you know, I realized that I was seeking external validation from men because like I didn't actually like love myself, because it's like I didn't love myself, so I was constantly seeking it in other people. And that's kind of like, okay, and then like, you know, fast forward to like, you know, later in my 20s when I, you know, have my HSV diagnosis after like being in like, I don't remember what number slut phase this was, but I was in also another slut phase. you know, it kind of comes and goes, you know, sometimes
Right.
the phases, they come and go. And I was in like
Yeah.
another slut phase. I think I kind of want to call it my Saturn return slut phase.
I love that.
Yeah.
SLS.
Yes.
Repeat.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
Phase.
And yes, I was like, wait, are those the letters? Yeah. And then, yeah, so like after I had my diagnosis, I was like, well, nobody's going to fucking want me now. Like, you know, my life is over. Like, you know, I hate my body. And like now I have this like skin condition that makes me undesirable. And that's when I was like, you know, and I, you know, was kind of like wallowing in that for like several months, you know, like it was really difficult to confront, like just like to like deal with that at the beginning. And I think a lot of people who have their initial diagnosis, like they're all in that same situation, because, you know, we have this idea of herpes as some like disgusting like skin condition that only like really gross people have. And it's like always like a joke about like people, like, you know, people make jokes about like prostitutes or whatever, like loose women, as like, oh, she probably has like all these diseases. And it's like, oh my God, everyone who has sex has fucking STDs. It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, so yeah, so like you kind of like feel like, okay, well, no one's ever going to come near me again. And so that's when I kind of realized that I needed to like start working on myself, like being like, okay, like, but what's the truth here? Like, are people going to want to be with me because of like my body or because of who I am? And like if like a guy likes me and he like is like repulsed by like, you know, a skin condition that I have, is he someone that's worth being in my life? You know, do they deserve to be near me? Because it's like, you know, I'm a great person, you know, I'm a, you know, whatever. You know, it doesn't change who I am as a person. Like this, you know, this virus that I have that most people have, like it doesn't change who I am. And so, and it doesn't define me. So, you know, that's kind of when I went on my healing journey, and I, you know, that's, you know, I realized that like, oh, I need to like work on my body image issues and like, you know, my inner child stuff, and, you know, just went through this whole process of like growth and transformation. And it also, you know, this whole growth and transformation process also led me to realize what my calling was, my purpose was in this life. And it's to help other people change their relationship with their body and food. Because of, you know, because of what I went through, I realized like, okay, yeah, these aren't things that like happen to me in my life. They happen for me in my life. So now I can take the lessons that I've learned and the wisdom that I've gained and use it to help others, because I know that so many other people struggle with this. So many people, you know, and I think people are now finally starting to talk about it a lot more. And which is amazing, you know, and I think it's, you know, I'm fucking sick of like, you know, people hearing the message that they need to look a certain way in order to be like loved or be worthy, because it's certainly not true. And it's the society that we live in. It's the, you know, it's the patriarchal capitalist white supremacist society we live in. All of that bullshit. And it's like, you know, I want us to free ourselves from it, because, you know, and I mostly work with women. And of course I absolutely realize it affects men as well. And like I would love to start working with men like in the next year, because we all suffer from it. We all do. And like these are all things that we impose on ourselves. And it's like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Wouldn't you rather like live happily and free and like stop worrying about like what your body looks like and what you're eating? Like, wouldn't you rather just like enjoy your life and like live your life with purpose rather than like focusing so much on like being ripped and having a six pack?
Yeah. Because we're energetic beings. Like, we're here
Yes.
to experience. We're not here to put on a show for everyone else, you know, like to get their approval, really, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I highlighted a passage in your book. You say our culture is so obsessed with sex that we are defined by how much sex we are having and how often we are having it. Our generation places our value on how sexually desirable you are. The number of people you sleep with defines who you are as a person. If you're having sex, that means you are valuable. I loved that because, and so much of your story is so relatable, although, like, I'm not sure if you always felt like your experience was one that other people were having, because I think when we're having, like you mentioned feeling like an ugly duckling, and I've always felt like that too. But I definitely have issues with like I was telling someone in a previous episode recently that like I could just have a guy tell me he wants to sleep with me and be like, oh, good, okay, bye. Like, all I wanted was to know you wanted to, and now like I don't actually know if I want to, you know, which is so fucked up.
Yeah.
Because then he's like, oh, wow. I don't know if I've ever said that to a guy. More often than not, I have gone through like the full sexual experience with a person that I really didn't necessarily want to have sex with, just because my feeling was that I didn't want to upset them. You know?
Interesting. Oh yeah, I mean, I've definitely slept with people who I'm just like, oh my God, why did I do that? Just to be like, make myself feel better that I'm like, oh my gosh, someone wants to sleep with me. Okay. And then you're like, afterwards, you're like, oh shit, like regrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then dealing with the aftermath, like being alone with yourself after that and being like, oh shit, I don't feel good.
Right. Right. And that's the thing is that like, I think that we think that we need to exist to be sexually appealing to the opposite, the sex that we're attracted to. Like that's what we live for. You know, that is that is what we need to be doing at all times. And yeah, I feel like, you know, I think that whole like emptiness after like just like sleeping with somebody and having them leave like isn't talked about enough. It's like, yeah, like after I had all these one night stands or, you know, whatever, like I felt fucking alone, you know, because I was alone because they would just leave. And then, you know, I'd be like, all right, well, it's just me now still, you know, and then you hope that it's going to fill a void and then, and it doesn't. I mean, but you know, it really depends because like some people are just like, yeah, I just want to fuck and have them go. That's fine. I'm not saying like, you know, we can't be having one night stands, but like, I think asking yourself like, okay, why do I feel the need to like just sleep with a bunch of people?
Yeah. Well, I used to call the experience boyfriend for the night. Like you would just like, both people were like, let's just pretend we're dating for just tonight. And then tomorrow we'll just go our separate ways. I think that I think I'm maybe better at doing that now. Maybe not. But like, cause I'm more non-monogamous nowadays. But, I think before I would say that's what I wanted, but I was always like, wait, but you're going to come back, right? Be like, no.
Yeah.
We had an understanding. This is only for tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I think at least like there is that communication up front where it's just like, this is a one night stand. Whereas I think like maybe with like heterosexual situations, it's like not, you know, I think there tends to be the idea that like the woman wants more, you know, from these interactions, which is not always the case, but like sometimes it is, you know, but and so like, you know, once you have these like one night stands, like, you know, or whatever, like everyone has their reason for like wanting to sleep with someone. It's like, oh, maybe they'll like me. But then it's like, yeah, it's like, there's definitely a bit of a void unless you're just like, yeah, that was a one-time thing and we're moving on. Like that's good that you have that like agreement beforehand. But then it's like, I don't know, like what is it that we really want when we go into these situations? I mean, for me, like moving forward, I'm much more intentional about who I give my time and energy to. I don't just sleep with anyone anymore, because it's like my time and my energy is sacred, and not just anyone can have it, like, and like if that means I'm not having sex with people, that's fine, like I'm kind of like I'm only allowing those who are like deserving of that to like enter my space, because
Yeah.
that's just my choice these days.
And a big part of
Yeah.
being deserving of that is wanting that. Like, if somebody wants to possess some of your time, like, in a really meaningful way, like, that's what you're looking for, people that are interested in investing in you.
Yeah. I have this saying where it's how I kind of like judge whether or not like I have time for someone. It's if you're not adding value to my life or money to my bank account, I don't have time for you.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
do,
one.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like move on.
I feel like I say that to my boss, like, pretty regularly. I'm like, have you paid me yet? Why are you talking to me? Well, and one of the things was, I think we talked about before when we had a talk before this recording, was this idea that like if being happy like alone means I'm not having sex, like then I'm not having sex. Do you find that since you kind of got more spiritual and started healing, that you're having, I don't want to say less sex, because you're probably having more intentional, meaningful sex, right? And like, you're
Yeah,
just not having all of the stupid sex that wasn't really benefiting you.
totally. Yeah, it's like I'm much more intentional now with like who I allow into my space,
Yeah.
and give my time to. I mean, like also like part of this journey was becoming sober, and like a lot of the promiscuity was fueled by alcohol. Like I was much looser, like not like I'm a loose woman, it's just more like I was less inhibited, so I would just like literally pick what not pick what I guess I would just like pick whoever, and like my standards were much lower at the time, I guess I'll just say it that way. Now I have much higher standards, so and I have better judgment.
I also think that if you're like a decent looking woman, if you're drunk and you go up to a guy and you're like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, I feel like a lot of guys just want to have sex with people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I could literally, if I really wanted to have sex with someone, I could literally just walk out my door, find a guy, be like, let's fuck. And they'd say yes. Like, it's
Yeah.
not that it's hard to find someone to have sex with. It's definitely hard to find people who are like quality people to have sex with. So like, yeah, like that's the thing is like, if I, back in the day when I was like a big slut, like I would literally just like see a guy, like, or not even see them, because like I would just sense a guy near me. I probably
You'd
couldn't see
use
shit at the
You were
time.
using echolocation to
Yeah.
get dates.
Yes, be like,
Yeah.
oh, here's a man. It's like, okay, you're some semi okay looking, and then just like a friend of mine called it like my dirty girl dance, where I just like do my, you grind up on the guy, and then like all of a sudden you're going home with them.
Oh, perfect. I need to learn that one.
Oh my
Well,
god.
that's funny because I was going to ask you about the drinking. I mean, you talk about drinking a lot in your book, and it's funny because I was sober for 3 years at the end of my 20s, and then when I went back to it, I just felt like my life had shifted enough where I didn't really have an issue with drinking anymore. But I started to realize that like I had never had sex without alcohol in my system. And so in those 3 years was the first time I was ever having sober sex. And there was a lot of awkward shit there, like a lot to unpack. I even had to go see
Yeah.
like a sex therapist who like taught me how to bottom, because I'd always been like just drunk.
Because it's like I, you know, that's like many years of just being conditioned in that way to like, and that's so interesting, especially since like sex is like so intimate, and like to finally be like fully present for that must have been like such an interesting shift for you.
It was. I mean, I think because I was sober, I was bringing to the bedroom maybe higher caliber situational, you know, partners. But I don't know, like there was things that were intense. There was things. Okay, so when I got sober, I experienced like the experience of having like multiple emotions come up at the same time and being really confused about what I was feeling and being like, and so there were a lot of times that would happen in sexual situations, and especially for guys in sexual situations, like you just lose your arousal. You're just like, if you get too many thoughts in your head or too much emotion that's not focused on what you're doing in the bedroom, you just kind of lose the arousal. So I just be in there like, oh, I'm not into this anymore, and you're still here.
Wow.
Hello.
It's like, okay,
Can we order
you can
pizza?
go. Yeah. It's like, let's just cuddle.
Let's cuddle.
That's so
He's like,
interesting.
only for tonight. Yeah, I mean, I definitely had my slutty phases, and I'm trying to think. I think I had a slutty phase when I was sober. I had like a friend who I had feelings for, and we were like really close. And then I expressed my feelings, and then he was like, I can't reciprocate. And then I was like, okay, bye. And then I slept with everybody. And I still think I know who gave me gonorrhea in my throat, but it's probably not. I probably can't tell, but I think it was this one guy, and I hate him.
Oh.
I mean, I hate him anyway, but like...
Yeah, I was like, do you hate him because of the gonorrhea, or is it something else?
Well, I don't know. There was a weird time, too, because, like, they had no idea what was going... I was sick for, like, weeks with this sore throat, and had no idea what it was, and this doctor was like, I'm going to give you, like, a really intense, like, you know, round of antibiotics, and if this is mono, you're going to get, like, really sick.
Oh,
shit. And I was like, oh, is it mono? She's like, I don't know. I can't tell what it is. And I was like, oh, my God, can you swab my throat and, like, look at it? Is that possible? But I think they just wouldn't have thought to look for that there, so it was really awkward.
Yeah,
It was really weird. But yeah, I was sober that whole time. I remember because I went to my friend's wedding. I had to fly to Chicago with gonorrhea in my throat to go to a lesbian fake wedding, and because at the time it wasn't legal. And I was like really sick. I was like, I can't believe I'm going on an airplane right now.
Oh shit!
It was so much. So those are my 20s.
Wow, yeah. Oh my God. 20. You're 20. Not your 20s, but like people's 20s in general is like messy.
So much fun, but so messy, especially towards the end. And
yeah,
because I always felt like, because okay, so I connected with you a lot. First of all, I was also a dancer, so I connected with that, and I connected with the feeling of not getting not having relationships, not having sex when all my friends were having sex and having relationships. And so in my 20s, I felt like I was a teenager. And now when I'm in my 30s, I kind of feel like I'm in my 20s. Like I just feel stunted because I didn't have a lot of those experiences, like when I feel like I should have.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, everyone is on a different timeline, you know, like we like make up these like arbitrary, like milestones for people, right? It's like, oh, by this time we should be doing this, but it's like, yeah, but that's all made up. You know?
Yeah.
So
That's true.
So don't like be hard on yourself. It's like you're on your own journey in your own timeline. There's no specific time we're supposed to be like experiencing things. It's like it just happens when it's meant to.
Agreed. I definitely think
Yeah.
that now. But you know, when you get to like the latter half of your 30s, you start to think like, and that's another thing too, like just like, you know, you're kind of talking about how time is just kind of made up. It definitely is made up. Like age is made up. Like I'm not looking at 40, but I'm kind of looking at 40. And, to me, that doesn't make any sense. Like it's a huge discrepancy in my mind of like who I am now and how close I am to 40. It's just like, what? That doesn't
Right.
make any sense. And that's like
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. Like physically, I don't feel like I even look 40. And I don't know if I'm going to hit a wall like sometime next year and just drastically look older. Or like,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
How old were your parents when they got married?
Okay, so my parents were like really young. They were like
Yeah.
21, 20 when they got married.
Yeah. That's a thing. And like how old were they when they had you?
So I was the last of four children. My mom was 38 and my dad was like 42 or 43 when they had
Yeah.
me.
So like, you know, we kind of see our parents' timelines and kind of compare ours to theirs. It's like, you know, by the time by the time my mom was my age, she was probably having me as well. So it's like, and I'm the third of three. So like, we're like, oh, we probably are supposed to be married and have kids and like all this other shit by now because that's what our parents were doing. And that's
Right.
probably why we feel kind of like we're not where we're supposed to be in life because we see like what our parents were doing and we're like, oh, that's strange.
Yeah, exactly. I can't even imagine having a child when I was 21.
God, no. Oh my God, no. Oh no, that would be so bad.
I would have been the worst parent. Like I would have probably
Right?
been nice to them, but like
Yeah.
I would have been gone all the time.
Yeah, and like think about like how you were emotionally at the age of 21. Like you're still emotionally developing. Your brain's still developing. And then you're
Yeah.
raising a fucking child. Like that's another thing is it's like, you know, imagine trying to like figure out how to raise a kid at the age of 21. It's like our parents didn't know what they were doing. Like,
Oh my God. It's so crazy. And like historically, people were always having children when they were still children. It's like nobody was
yeah.
given the chance to grow up. And it's like, no wonder it took forever for the world to like, and we're still getting it together, but like, you know,
Right.
we're just
Yeah.
monkeys. We're really just
We are.
animals.
We are. I mean, at least I think that our generation is definitely healing a lot of generational trauma. Like, and I feel like our generation is really the first generation to actually like talk about. I mean, I've never heard generational trauma until like fairly recently. Maybe it's been a thing, but like, I mean, it's been a thing, but at least like something that's been like in the public discourse, like not so much until like fairly recently. So, you know,
Yeah.
I think even though, you know, things are seemingly taking longer, I think it's because I think humanity overall is evolving, but like there's also some that aren't. I'm not saying like every human is, but like if you're describing like in a general sense, like I think a lot of people are evolving. There's also a lot of people who aren't. Like, let's
Yeah.
be real about that. But you know,
Yeah, I live in the South. I know. Do you feel a lot of like expectation to like get married and have kids, or is that something that you freed yourself of?
oh, I really don't feel any expectations. Like my parents, they're like pretty, you know, for Asian parents, they're pretty great. You know, they don't expect anything from me, like other than to be like, you know, to be happy and healthy. Like they're not like, oh, when are you going to have kids? When are you getting married? Like, obviously they like, you know, they just want me to be happy. And it's like, if that's unmarried, that's great. If it's married, great. You know, like they're not gonna like pressure me either way. And like I'm sure, like yeah, they would be really happy if I had, you know, children because they love kids, and you know, of course. But they're also not like, when are you gonna have kids? Like, like we're waiting. My brother, he's like, your niece and nephew are ready for cousins, and I'm like, cool. Like, well, either like help me find a rich husband or help me make millions of dollars. Then we can talk, because like it's so expensive to have kids.
So expensive.
So expensive.
So expensive.
But yeah, I am gonna get my eggs frozen, just in case. You know, I want to leave that door open in case I want to have kids. But you know, I'm not like, oh my god, I have to have kids. It's just like, and I'm not like, oh my god, no kids for me. I'm just like leaving that possibility open, and I'm also like open for adoption, open to adopting as well. Because you know, I think I would. I mean, I don't know if I'd make a great parent. Like, I think I'd make a decent parent. Like, I'd at least be able to like raise good people. You know, like that's the thing is I'm like, oh shit, like maybe I do need to have kids or like raise children to like raise the next generation of like humans on this planet, because like only some people are breeding and it's not the people that should be breeding. So that's why I'm like, oh shit, maybe I do need to raise kids.
Oh my god. The wrong people are having too many children. They're like, each family has like an average of 6 children, and it's like, please stop.
Have you heard of this like replacement theory?
I have, and I forget what it means.
So it's like basically like, I forget who came up with this, but they're just like some white supremacist. They're saying that like white people are going to be like, you know, I think like they're afraid that like white people are being like taken over in the population, so they need to like reproduce. They got to reproduce because they're gonna be replaced. And it's like, dude, if you look at like the rest of the globe, like the non-white people outnumber the white people. But anyway, they don't know that.
They don't know how many millions of people live in Asia and Africa.
It's like people that exist outside of America, and a lot of them are non-white. So anyway, but yeah, there's like this like great replacement theory, and it's like they need to like, oh, white people need to like make more white babies because they're being outnumbered, and it's just like, so what?
Yeah.
like what? Who cares? But like, you know, if you're a white supremacist, you care. But
oh my god.
But that's a thing. That's a thing.
And it's also like we live in the last, well, it's not exactly the last continent to be fully colonized, but we live in one of the last ones, and so there's still so much space that it doesn't have houses on it yet, and although it doesn't feel like that where I live, because right now it's like exploding with like people that moved out of the city and want to like live near the beach, but it's just like in other parts of the world, there's nowhere to go left or right, there's nowhere to go front and back, there's nowhere to go higher. Like they have so many people that like they don't know what to do, and like we in this country just think, I mean I don't, but and probably not you either, but like some people in this country think that like there isn't an overpopulation issue in the world, and it's like, no, there definitely is, and you need to stop having 6 children per family. Yeah,
and they also don't realize that like the natural resources of this planet are finite, and that we're running out. We're running out of clean water. We're running out of like clean air. It's really fucked. So they don't.
So fucked.
And they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. It's so
well, because they're like, well, that can't be true because I look in my sink and clean water comes out. It's like, yeah, for you. Like, you don't know how lucky you are to have that luxury of water coming out of a sink.
Yeah, to like turn on the faucet and clean water comes out. Like, people take that so for granted.
Or like you can have sex and get an STI and then get treatment for it. In other countries, they can't.
Right.
Like,
yeah, they'll just have to
have to die from something like syphilis, which no one should be dying of syphilis these days. Like, it just doesn't.
No,
not fair.
We have ways to cure it. Yeah, I got a UTI one time from like a night of like I had like sex with this guy, and then like the next day I was like leaving for a camping trip, and like I didn't have time to like go home and shower before leaving for this camping trip. I just like went post coitus basically, and you know, I'm outside camping, I'm peeing in the woods, whatever, and I like come back and I like had like a UTI, and I was like trying to treat it like with like the natural way, like, with like cranberry juice. Yeah, no, cranberry juice. And then like, you know, a week later, it just like kind of got worse. And like, I started like feeling pain in my back, and I was like, oh shit, like it's really bad. And I went to the ER, and they're like, yeah, you have a kidney infection. I was like, oh, fuck. And so, yeah, but you know, they gave me antibiotics, but like, you know, if I was like, shit, like if I didn't have access to antibiotics, I would die. Like I would just straight up die of kidney failure.
Oh,
so,
God.
Moral of the story, always pee after sex and then wash your cooch.
And maybe
it's
stop camping. I don't know. Like I want to.
No. Don't stop camping, but definitely pee after sex. I don't think I peed after sex. That is like number one rule. Pee after sex. And I didn't do that. And then I didn't shower for a few days because I went camping. Oh God. Then I ended up with a kidney infection because I didn't go to the doctor right away. And that's another thing. It's like, you know, I was trying to do it the natural way. Yeah, like there's a time and place for the natural way. It's not when it comes to infections. There's no natural way to get rid of a fucking bacterial infection. You need the medicine. And like, I'm all about like holistic nutrition or whatever, but like, I'm also like, yeah, take antibiotics if you need it.
Definitely.
Like, don't fuck with that.
Definitely. I mean, I think that holistic stuff is good for, you know, preventative care.
Yeah.
Or if you're like a really powerful witch or shaman, maybe you could cure a kidney infection, but I'm not either of those things. So
yeah, no, yeah, and I don't have time to find a shaman to cure me of that. That you know, it takes time to like go to a shaman. They're not. You can't just like call them on up and get treatment.
1-800-SHAMAN. The last shaman I encountered like put a spell on my friend, and they were like in this really abusive relationship for like a whole month, and then he finally like broke free of this guy's like, you know, sex spell, and he was like, oh my God, I don't even know what happened. And I was like, this is insane.
Wait.
It wasn't like really a spell.
Wait, what?
Like, he was just really hot, and my friend was like in love with him instantly, and then like did whatever he wanted.
Wait,
I was like,
hold on. So I have so many questions. Wait. The shaman put a sex spell on this person?
It was like, he was so hot, and like, he was a little bit of a sociopath, and he's the perfect person to start a cult.
I'm sorry, that does not sound like a shaman. A shaman would not do that.
Well, he said he was a shaman.
Then he's not a shaman.
He also met him like in Manhattan, so like obviously there's not a ton of shaman in Manhattan.
Was he white?
Shamans. He was also white.
Okay, he's definitely not a shaman.
He was a white shaman.
Oh,
He was the white wizard of the West. He was, like I said, he was just so hot, but he like was even like playing off of, because like I was a yoga teacher, my friend was a yoga teacher, he was playing off of like this whole like, you know, oh, you have to live Ayurvedically, and you know, you need to retain your seed, like not have orgasm. And so he like, and then he was like, you shouldn't be eating anything that's not vegan, and like, so he just like really messed with my friend's head. My friend is apparently like in his 50s, but he acts like a 16-year-old girl. He's just very impressionable. But yeah, like, I was kind of like, girl, I can't save you. Like, you're just too old. I can't do it. Like, you have to just get out of this one on your own. I will see you in a month. And he was like, ah.
Oh my God, you abandoned your friend.
Kind of. I mean, I saw him every day, but I was just like,
you need to set healthy boundaries.
Yeah, I was like, you're acting a little crazy, and I have a feeling that you should be able to get out of this on your own.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't even have naked pictures of you. Like, come on. There's no...
Yeah.
But, Yeah, so I don't know. I need to meet like maybe a better shaman, maybe
Yeah,
a brown shaman.
that is not, yes, because let me tell you, that white man in Manhattan is not a shaman. That's not, because shamans would never do that. They would never do that. It's just like a white guy who is super spiritual, and he's like, oh, I'm very spiritual, therefore I am a shaman. Yes, like that's the kind of person
Yeah.
he is. And those people, I don't fuck with those people. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't fuck with a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure he's done ayahuasca in upstate New York or something, or like a cacao ceremony, but I'm just like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm not retaining any semen for you, mister.
I mean, I did ayahuasca recently.
Oh.
But yeah.
What was that like? Was it
It was
fun?
amazing. It was fucking amazing. It was a really incredible experience. And yeah, like it changed. I mean, yeah, it's definitely, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of changed my life. Like, I mean, like, I've just been on this like healing journey for like many, many years now. And it's kind of just a way of like kind of reaffirming the work that I'm doing and just like encouraging me to like continue. Cause like not only have I been like on a healing journey for myself, but now I'm like on a journey to help others heal. So like that's kind of like the direction my life is going in now. And like I'm a huge empath, so like I really do like feel other people's like emotions, especially their pain. And yeah, like I definitely got a lot of great like insights and just like reminders from spirit, and it was a beautiful experience. Like I cried a lot, I released a lot, and it was just, yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I want to have like a thing like that. I mean, I haven't done any drugs. Like I used to do cocaine sometimes when I was like, in my 20s. But
Yeah.
I've never done like shrooms, or I haven't even done edibles. Like I'm like I've been a drinker, and like
Yeah.
that was kind of my thing. But I would like to try LSD or
Yeah.
mushrooms.
Yeah, mushrooms are great. LSD is fun. But I would suggest like being in a comfortable setting. So I don't think Burning Man is a great place to try it for the first time because it's such a rough
No.
environment. But like do it like for mushrooms, I recommend doing it in nature because like it's just so beautiful to be surrounded by nature just because you just feel really connected with it with mushrooms. So nature is always a good place for mushrooms. LSD, I mean, you could do it anywhere. Just as long as you're around
Yeah.
good people.
I think I'm gonna do it at like one of those like centers for healing where they
Ooh.
like you lie in a bed and they hold your hand and then you cry and then you say crazy shit. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I'm all about like people using these medicines to heal because our world needs so much healing right now. Like, fuck, shit is fucked.
It really is.
Shit's fucked. But as long as we stay committed to our healing and our transformation, we're going to be okay.
I agree. And I think not even everyone. I think if like 50% of us are trying our best to heal, like it's enough to heal the whole world. I don't think we're
Totally.
there yet, but I think it's so powerful that we just one time I sat, and maybe I was high when I did this, but one time I sat and like decided like what percentage of humanity would have to like be like open-minded and loving for the world to just be completely cured. And I think I got to like 50%, and I was like, that's enough. Like we just need to get to 50.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like, you just do it like one person at a time because like once one person is transformed, like it starts to influence the people around them. Like, even though like not like even like in an indirect way, even though it's not like really clear, but like you heal one person, it starts to have like a ripple effect. So yeah, it's like if 50% of the world is like healed and growing, like imagine like the effect that it has on the people around them. And it's like a domino effect. But yeah, we're definitely not there yet, and like we may not be the ones to see it in our lifetime, which is why it's important for us to raise children that will like, continue the healing. But yeah, that's I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I do need to have a kid or two. 2
I think you
kids.
should wait till you're 40. I think people can have babies
Yeah.
well into their 50s
For
now.
sure.
I mean, if you can afford it.
Yeah, that's why I need my rich husband I also want to like be independently wealthy and also have a rich husband. I mean, it's not a requirement, but that would help.
It would be nice.
I'm manifesting a rich husband.
I mean, you're literally living in Silicon Nation, like you, right? Like, can you just like go stand outside of like, can you like go to Cupertino and just like get on a shuttle bus and just like wait for some hot millionaire to sit down?
Yeah, I don't think they're taking the shuttle bus to work. But yeah, I mean there's plenty of rich dudes around here. But yeah, I've yet to really meet any ones that I like. I have actually made a profile on this website for meeting wealthy men. And it didn't work out so great, and I gave up on it.
Was it like Sugar Baby? Or like, it wasn't
Yeah,
like
something like
that.
that. No, it wasn't that exact website, but it is like in that general realm.
Yeah.
Because I have a friend. She has a friend who's a billionaire, and I'm just like, damn, girl, like, get it.
I know. I just want a rich man to buy me a house and then like just bugger off. Like, I just need you to buy the house.
Right.
I'll handle it after that.
Yeah, but it's
I
like,
just want you to buy it.
but usually, like, you got to put in a little more effort on your end to get to that point, and I'm just like, ugh, am I willing to put in that effort? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I legitimately like giving hand jobs, so like I feel like I could do it.
You could.
This.
Yes, you can.
Oh my god. Well, it was so nice having you on the show, Chi-Chi.
Yes, thank you for having me. I loved talking with you. This was really fun.
Where can people find your podcast and your book if they want to check them out?
Yeah, so my podcast is called The Sistriarchy Sessions. That's spelled SISTRIARCHY. Like, it's like the patriarchy, but like instead of patriarchy, it's cis. Like sister, not like cisgender.
Right.
And my book is called Dare to Express. You can buy it on Amazon only right now. And then you can find me on Instagram as well, Chi-Chi_loves you, because I do. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to add you too.
Yeah.
I haven't even added you on Instagram yet. I'm such a lazy bones.
It's okay. I have not really been on Instagram much lately, so no worries.
I only go on to look at like workout videos and men with bulges. It's really soul sucking, but it's what I do now. It's like my thing.
Yeah. I look at like dog and astrology memes and sometimes pop culture memes.
So many good dog things.
Yeah, so many good dog things. Oh my god, so much good dog stuff.
And then like I watched this video of a baby, like an Italian baby, speaking Italian and like talking with their hands, like really like intensely.
Like an Italian person.
Yeah, it was like, oh my god, this is like they teach them this at like day one, like to put their fingers together and like whatever the hand gestures with your fingers together. It's like do it all the time.
They actually, I thought that was like a stereotype. They actually do that?
Well, this baby was. Maybe they just taught the baby to do it
Oh,
so
okay.
they could get some like hits on their meme or their reel or whatever.
Yeah. It's always about engagement. It's always about engagement.
Engagement.
I know.
I'm like so disengaged.
Same.
Bye, Chi-Chi.
Bye.
All right, friends, that's our show this week. Don't forget, again, please like, rate, review, subscribe. Your support to this podcast makes this podcast possible. It means the world to me. And if you want to email sexy stories or questions and comments, please email makesexwithmepodcast@gmail.com. You can find a link to that in the show notes. Also, check out our new link tree in the show notes for all of our socials. And I hope you're filling all your holes with whatever makes you happy. Goodbye.